This is huge news in the tech world. The U.S. government just gave two AI giants, Nvidia and AMD, the green light to sell chips to China in exchange for a 15% cut of the revenue. Unprecedented. The arrangement is highly unusual. An American company has never agreed to give the U.S. government the percentage of their sales, or a tech company the percentage of their sales, in exchange for an export license. This is all new territory. So let's bring in Jacob Ward, a technology journalist and host of the Rip Current podcast and the author of The Loop: How Technology is Creating World Without Choices and How to Fight Back. Jacob, I've been wanting to ask you about this. We've never seen the government take a cut of the proceeds or the profits before with anything like this.
Right.
How does this really change the game? And a follow-up is this going to give China an advantage when it comes to these chips?
Right. So these export controls were put into place ostensibly to keep these chips out of China's hands because China is, in theory, our greatest geopolitical rival when it comes to AI. So, however, we've suddenly entered this weird transactional world that President Trump seems to occupy, where somehow taking a cut of the revenue will somehow make up for that. National security people that I've been speaking to say it doesn't really solve any of those problems. The competition with China, and you're right that it's pretty unprecedented. Like in the past, the government has gotten involved when there's been like a systemic risk of financial collapse, and you have to prop up a bank or something like that. But we've never seen them take a cut of the sales before. So will this 15% somehow be some kind of early tariff or something? We don't really know. But certainly what it doesn't do is help with the national security implications when it comes to China. And China, meanwhile, is very angry about it. They're saying we're not actually going to buy these chips because we're worried about some sort of backdoor now that the government is involved. So the whole thing is extremely complicated, and like you say, has never really happened before.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how this whole plays out. It's interesting, you brought up tech and alluded to national defense. There's another AI giant pitching a deal to the Trump administration, Anthropic offering its AI chatbot to the U.S. government for just $1.
Yeah, I know.
So why would they do this? There's got to be something long-term that they're hoping to get out of it.
So here's the strategic play. First of all, OpenAI has already done this. They also, under a new government initiative that they have going, offered their ChatGPT technology to the government for that amount of money. And it's all because these companies are just trying to get into the government, right? They're trying to get into these contracts that could be worth hundreds of millions of dollars. You have to remember, right? OpenAI is going to be raising about $40 billion this coming year. They've got to make up for that money somehow. And so government contracts are a great way to do that. They think that they're going to basically get these companies addicted to, these government agencies addicted to the technology. And as a result, they'll come back for much, much more than $1.
They can't live without it.
That's
once
the
they start
idea,
using it.
That's right. That's right.
Okay, this next story I've been thinking a lot about because we both have kids, right?
Sure.
Well, YouTube says it's going to begin testing a new age verification system here in the U.S. And it uses AI to differentiate between minors and adults based on what kinds of videos they watch. Now, you can imagine it's a clear difference between, say, a 5-year-old and a 25-year-old.
Right.
But what about, say, a 16-year-old and an 18 or 19-year-old? I mean, is the technology that sophisticated?
YouTube says that it's had a huge amount of success with this around the world. And so they've tried they've tried this elsewhere, and they say it works pretty well. That 16 to 18 gap, you're absolutely right. It's not at all clear that that's going to be the case. I mean, you and I, right, looking at a couple of 16 and 18-year-olds, I can't tell the difference between them anymore.
Right.
The other problem that raises some privacy concerns here is that when you are an 18-year-old who is accused of being 16 by this system, well, then you're supposed to have to show something like government ID to prove that you are who you say you are. And that, of course, is the end of anonymous browsing. This is what privacy critics are worried about, is that we're going to force people to suddenly turn over their driver's license to these companies in ways that we've never really had to before. There is growing pressure around the world to make sure that kids aren't seeing inappropriate stuff. The UK has just created a very big sweeping new law about this that has a lot of critics and is really changing the game. It seems like YouTube is just trying to get on board with this. I would also say YouTube, in the past, not necessarily somebody you would look to for something like this. So the idea that they are moving as quickly as they are to try and make sure that kids don't see something inappropriate says something about the pressure they seem to feel.
Yeah, you wouldn't think YouTube would get in on this. And you certainly, with other social media companies as well as other video game companies are using this AI technology to try to keep its users safe. But at some point, is there a line between what responsibility these companies have to keep kids safe and what's the parents' responsibility?
Yeah, I'll just say from my personal opinion, I think it's too much to ask parents to deal with any of this. These are for-profit multinational companies that employ the smartest people in the world to try to get us to use their stuff as much as they possibly can, right? So when you ask these companies about that, they tend to pass the buck. A lot of these big companies, the platforms, say that they want Apple and Google, who make the handsets, to be responsible for this stuff, and everybody likes to blame the parents. But it's really clear to me that these big for-profit companies, they have to feel some responsibility around this, because certainly their legal liability is growing. It seems like that may be what YouTube is responding to here. But again, we don't have privacy laws in this country. It is a totally open world. And so it's really just, it's not because they absolutely have to that they're doing this. There just seems to be some new pressure they're feeling. Maybe it's socially, maybe it's politically, but it's not law as of yet to really have to make this kind of distinction. So that's the crazy, open, Wild West world that we live in.
It's so true. And you talk about the pressure. There's pressure on everybody. There's pressure on the parents to try to protect their kids. There's pressure on the kids to keep up with the latest and greatest. It's hard.
It is extremely hard. These are extremely fast-moving things. And every time I speak to an expert who tries to do some big academic study about this, it takes them several years to prove the effects. And by that time, your kids are using entirely different things.
So true.
That's right.
Jacob Ward, always good to see you. Thanks
Appreciate
so much for
it. Thank
joining
you.
us on set. How neat is that?
I really love being here. Thank you.
Us too.